independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Yeah, that is the big question here on Capitol Hill tonight. Even Richard Shelby, the lead Senate Republican negotiator who emerged and said that they had a deal in principle, said he couldn't say for sure that the president would sign. He said he thought the president could, he hoped he could, but no one really knows. What we do know is that it's not anywhere near what the president has been demanding for some time in terms of funding for his border wall. He had asked for $5.7 billion to fund for his border wall. We're hearing that it's going to be about $1.375 billion.
And it looks like he will sign it. Not happy about it at all, the Trumpster. Last night, giving his rally out there, rallying up everybody in the competing, dueling rallies. Beto across the street, Trump on one side. They're going at it. What? But the reality is he didn't get what he wanted. And some people are pissed, but I'm here to tell you something. If I'm Trump, this is the way I want it every time. Right? I want this battle every time. I want to fight for this all the time because, as we talk about, the money's in the disease, not the cure. You build that entire wall. That was a huge platform of what it is that you got elected for. If you did that, then what? This is going to continue to go on and on and on and on. And the fight will continue to happen over and over and over. And you can continue out there and say, I'm fighting for you and you and you and you. And we're going to get that wall built. We're going to do that. We're going to do everything we can. We're not giving up. We're doing it piece by piece, inch by inch. We are parsing this thing together. But he's not happy, at least publicly.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no, I'm not. I'm not happy.
He's not happy. He's not happy. Not happy about it. But if I him, I'm like, man, and if I'm back there dealing with him, I say, look, President, this 50, 100 miles at a time, continue to battle, show the people that you mean business and you're not going anywhere, fighting it over and over and over and over again, continuing to show that you're willing to go as far as you possibly can, doing everything you possibly can, pushing and pushing and fighting and pushing and pushing and fighting, and it stays out there all the time. And this was the theme so much so for your campaign. And if you were to build it tomorrow, all of it, a lot of people might go, well, he said he was going to do what he was going to do. Now what? Oh, yeah. Keep it out there. Keep doing it. Absolutely.
I have to study it. I'm not happy about it. It's not doing the trick, but I'm adding things to it.
Yeah, we'll see. They negotiated. Here's my thing. I want to know what else is in this damn thing, right? This is a budget. This isn't just that. What else is in this thing? I'm curious about what else is inside of this there thing so we could take a look at this there thing to see what's inside of this there thing that is going to cost us all potential in the future, right? Money-wise. I'm curious about that. When asked about the shutdown, which is what everybody wants to know.
I don't think you're going to see a shutdown. I wouldn't want to go to it now. If you did have it, it's a Democrat's fault.
All right. So if he says he's going to sign it, then I think he'll get it done. Doesn't look like he's interested in another shutdown. I doubt the Democrats are either. So, boom. Are you happy with that? Are you miserable with that? Again, from a political standpoint, the more that you can continue to push this thing forward, not in what's good for America, what isn't good for America. As I was talking to somebody today, I'm like, this right here, the wall has zero to do with America and all to do with 2020. There's no doubt I think that Trump wants a wall built. But this has zero to do with this fight that's going on over the budget, and the shutdown has all to do with 2020. And as a person, if I was leading a campaign saying, this is something that has been a catalyst for you. This has been something that has been absolutely the thing that keeps you front and center. If we parse it together and there's a fight almost all the time and you can rally your base, maybe inch by inch is better than just building the entire thing right away. I'm just saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this right here is my shocked face.
The jury in Brooklyn federal court convicted Joaquin Guzman on all 10 counts he faced. He was charged with running a continuing criminal enterprise as the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, a position he used to smuggle at least 200 tons of cocaine into the United States. Witnesses described chilling violence Guzman unleashed on rivals and the paranoia of a man who lived constantly on the run. Jurors heard of narrow, naked escapes through tunnels and of the electronics he used to spy on mistresses and his wife. Guzman now faces life in prison.
Yeah, we always knew, right? And I guess the way they debated, they wanted to hear a lot of things. They wanted to break stuff down. There was some stuff here or there that the jury wanted to look at. And, quite frankly, again, I've talked about this before. Anyway, I would never want to be on a jury like that at all. Just because of who this guy is, who this person is. To see the lengths they took just to transport him from point A to point B. But every single drug lord, every giant cartel leader and member, their biggest fear isn't a hail of gunfire that they get killed on, right? It isn't dying on top of your mother's roof like what's his name from the Medellin cartel? No. It's none of that. No, Escobar? No, that's not their biggest fear is being caught and imprisoned here. Over there, you can kind of run things, right? Over there, you still have power. Over there, wherever there is, whether it's Colombia or somewhere in South America, whether it is south of the border here, you have nothing here. You will have limited time outside. You will have virtually, this guy's not going to he's not going to be in the general population. He's going to be locked up 23 and a half hours a day, probably only able to talk to a few people if they talk about filing appeals. That is the biggest fear for these guys. You are Noriega. Remember that guy? They locked him up and threw away the key, right? You go in and you ain't coming out. And when you do, there is a tag on your toe and you're never heard from again. That is the fear of this. In all those other prisons, whether it's Escobar building his lavish prison that he imprisoned himself in that was literally a country club with all the visitors and the discos and all of that stuff, to some of these prisons you see elsewhere in certain parts of the world where, they have conjugal visits, they're conducting business, and essentially it's just, if you're a guard, you hope you get out alive, and you may be making some money to get stuff to the outside and stuff to the inside. To some of these people, we're here, you got none of that, right? You got none of that. When you leave your cell, you're shackled up before you ever come out. They ain't want any part of this. No. And he's never going to see the light of day. Never. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I do love hearing from you. One of the other things we're going to be following today is an NBC report about Russia.
Hallie, after 2 years and interviewing more than 200 witnesses, the Senate Intelligence Committee has not uncovered any direct evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. That's according to sources on both the Republican and the Democratic side of the aisle, Hallie. And careful viewers and readers will note that Senator Richard Burr, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee who leads this probe, essentially said that in an interview with another network last week. But what I've been doing since then is checking with my sources on the Democratic side to understand the full context of his remarks, because that was essentially a partisan comment from one side. But this is a bipartisan investigation, and what I found is that the Democrats don't dispute that characterization.
Yeah, NBC's reporting that after 2+ years, lots of interviews, some more interviews to go, there is no collusion that they can find. Now, one Democrat came out and said, look, we didn't think we were going to find some sort of note written in blood with Vlad and Trump and stuff like that. But there's nothing really. What I think they found, which is what we've talked about before on the show, is that some of the Russians were playing chess and some of the people in the Trump campaign were in it for themselves. Right? Already, you are a lot of times who you surround yourself with, and he surrounded himself with people that were shady at best, and I think you knew that, and so did we all. But also when it comes to his son and a few other people, that they were getting played by people who were playing chess, not checkers. And I think that was a bigger thing. They had ulterior motives, and they were using other things to get meetings. But if there's no collusion, and I tweeted that out today, people are like, oh my God, you used to understand it was all the Republicans. No, this was a bipartisan group. Now, it doesn't mean that, what's his name, Mueller may find something, but will he find enough that's going to say that, hey, look, we found it? No, probably not. And we don't even know if we're still ever going to see that Mueller investigation, because by the sounds of it, he's not talking, and it doesn't look like we're going to be seeing much of that, if any of it really. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Somebody just texted me. You can always text the program. I love it when you do. Somebody texted and said, nice spin. When given a lemon, I guess you make lemonade. Mexico pay for the wall? No, Mexico's not paying for the wall. I've said that all along. First of all, I've always said we need a barrier in certain areas. We don't need a full wall. And Mexico was never going to pay for it. And the fact that people bought into that is ridiculous. Right? But from a campaign side of, I'm in charge of you getting reelected, I'm not in charge of your politics while you're president, I'm in charge of getting you reelected, the story needs to be, this is still about building the wall, because it is your go-to in so many ways. It is, right? It's your big hit. So you don't want to get rid of your big hit, right? Like, you go, how many times have you gone and seen a band and they're a band that's been around for a while? And I've gone a couple times and seen bands I've really liked, and they refuse to play any of their hits. I got news for you. I don't want that, right? Nobody cares about your new stuff, right? Your sell-by date as far as new stuff is 20 years old. For Trump, this is something that keeps him around as far as what you can do when you go to rallies and get the bases riled up. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. 2 days left. 1-2 till Valentine's Day. Now, if you don't already have your perfect surprise, slow your roll. We got it going for you, right? You're cutting it close, but you still have a chance to win Valentine's Days this year with a gorgeous bouquet of red and pink roses from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 assorted roses for just $10 more. Unbelievable, incredible. Where's it from? 1-800-Flowers.com. That's simple. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99 or upgraded to 24 for just $10 more. It's incredible. Picked at their peak. They ensured freshness, delivered straight to you overnight. You picked the delivery date, which should be Valentine's Day, so that way you win. Let 1-800-Flowers do the rest. You go to my Instagram page and check it out at Chad Benson Show. I've actually got this posted. It is incredible. 1-800-Flowers.com. Order today. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley, $29.99, or upgraded 24 assorted roses for $10 more. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. That's 1-800-Flowers.com. Enter code Benson. Hurry, though. This offer expires today. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker anytime of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
Anti-Semitism has no place in the United States Congress. And Congressman Omar is terrible what she said.
Oh, yeah. Still, it's funny how that came and went, but here's the thing. The right doesn't have the moral high ground, according to people in the media and the left, to be able to say anything. So they felt like, well, what she said was what she said, and she apologized because some Democrats got on her. And here's the other thing. Her base of people, they're not going to turn on her. There's a younger generation out there of Democrats and progressives that, for all intents and purposes, look at what she said and weren't really offended by it because it has to do with Israel. And a lot of people out there look at Israel and say, you know, maybe America does too much for you. Maybe, just maybe, what you're doing with the Palestine, especially with the BDS movement, which is the divestiture movement that's going on in the colleges. Maybe, just maybe, Ilhan, she's got a place to stand there. And you can have the debate about whether or not you are for or against Israel, whatever. But what she said yesterday leads us to this, as we do each and every single day. We deliver it to you in a way that is both musical and fun at times, and other times serious. We call this right here our urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Yeah. Ilhan Omar tweeted out, "It's all about the Benjamins," which is a reference to it's about money. Everything is about the Benjamins, money. Right? $100 bills, yo. And that's what she tweeted out yesterday. And it's funny that that is very much a cool, hip word that the kids say. But we said it for a long time. We're taking it back. All about the Benjamins. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Toys R Us is coming back with a new name, True Kids. Richard Berry, a former Toys R Us executive, is CEO of the new company, which is exploring freestanding stores, shops within existing stores, as well as e-commerce. The goal for True Kids to be up and running in some form by the holiday shopping season. Toys R Us liquidated its businesses last year, closing all of its U.S. stores.
Here's my question on this. True Kids or Toys R Us? If I ask you, do you know Toys R Us, you say yes. Do you know True Kids? Probably not. I got a little one. I don't know True Kids. I don't. Aren't you buying the brand and the name itself? Right? Isn't that what it's all about? You're buying that, like Hostess. You're buying Hostess. You're not going to change it to something else. You're buying the name. Everything else that comes with it could be, that's fine. But you're buying Hostess. So when that's the whole thought process. When I heard about Toys R Us coming back, I'm like, well, it's True Kids. It's not really Toys R Us coming back unless you're going to be Toys R Us. That's the comeback, right? Like if Sears changes its name to, the store, it's no longer Sears. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. They need to do what I said. Pop-up stores from November to early January. The rest of it online. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
They've reached an agreement. They now have to put it on paper. We have to see if that reflects the principle, and we're hopeful the president will, once he does that and once we do that, we'll conclude that it's a good idea at the time.
Why are they interviewing Mitch in a bathroom? Just couldn't wait till he was done there? But yeah, they've reached an agreement. There's not going to be a shutdown. Trump is not thrilled, but I'll tell you what, if I'm Trump, I'm sitting there laughing about this entire situation.
I have to study it. I'm not happy about it.
You're not happy about it? So what do you need to do?
I have to study it. I'm not happy about it. It's not doing the trick, but I'm adding things to it.
But here's the argument if you are running Trump's campaign for 2020. All right? This is the argument for that. I don't want you to build the wall all together at once. I want you to slowly but surely put this thing together. Pieces, piecemeal it, parcel it together, just inch by inch. And the reason is this got you elected, right? The wall got you elected. The stance that you have when it comes to immigration and build that wall, build that barrier out there, people cheering, all of that stuff. This was the thing that got people excited, that got people behind you. This was that thing. But it's finite. So if you built it and you've done with it, you may not have anything else. You may have just, for all intents and purposes, used up your last trump card. I know that sounds weird, but the reality is if you're still fighting the good fight, if you're still out there saying, I'm fixing immigration, I'm fighting this, if some people say it's a losing battle, it can't be won, but I'm doing it inch by inch. People love that. They do. So if I'm his campaign, I love that. Bitch, moan, whine, scream, yell, and give me what I want, but I got to do the right thing. I got to sign this bill. Nobody wants a government shutdown. We did a little bit of negotiation, but man, I'm not done yet. I'm going to get out there and do more. I've got to do more. But if you would have got it done, yeah. Because in some ways you've painted yourself, well, you're the great negotiator and all these kind of things. You're painting yourself in some ways to be potentially, for a lot of people, and it's funny because I talk to a lot of Trump supporters, and this is the big thing. They don't care about the economy. They don't care about healthcare. I mean, it's not that they don't care, but it's just so far down their list. It's like 1, and then it's empty down to 10, and then there's other things. So if I'm Trump, of course I'm going to sign it. And all the while, I'm going to make sure that they know that this is still here and that I'm still fighting for it. And every rally, everything I do going forward, if you're going to make this a symbol about my election, damn Skippy, I'm also going to make this a symbol about my election in 2020. And I'm going to continue to fight the fight over and over and over. Think about that for a second. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I'm turning this into the long game just like you guys are trying to do. And it's what rallies my base. It's why there was double, almost triple the amount of people last night in El Paso to see Trump rather than Beto. This is your big thing. This is, if you're a band and you're going to play, we want to hear the hits. This is your biggest hit. I don't want to hear your new stuff right now. I want to hear your big hit. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. I do love hearing from each and every one of you. And we'll tell you what, the Democrats, we are 2 days away from the 1-year anniversary of Parkland, and the Democrats rolling out a new high-capacity gun magazine ban and calling Keep America Safe. You got to keep America safe.
The few seconds that it takes to reload a weapon matter. Those seconds can make all of the difference. Those seconds can save a life.
Yeah, they can. I think we all know that. But at the same time, and take away the argument of the Second Amendment, right? Because that's the funny thing when you look at this. They said, one of the usual generic arguments that they're going to roll out is that any limitation or any restriction is a violation of the Second Amendment. Here's my thing. When you always go back and you look through all of these things, what would have been prevented? Right? And that's what this is about, right? That's what this is about. Now, they want to essentially limit it to, 10 rounds? Anything over 10 rounds of ammunition would be essentially outlawed. And it is, again, this is a situation where it's the 1-year anniversary. There's going to be feelings. There's going to be some anger. People are upset. It once again brings back the gun debate and argument when we should be talking about the criminal element and this stuff. We're still talking about guns, and there's a guy sitting in jail that killed 17 people. I'm not a gun nut, right? I'm not a guy that's because there's a lot of people out there. But I also look and say, if this is truly about prevention of stuff, we need to look at mental health. We need to look at a lot of other things. And we also need to look at the reality that we're safer than we've ever been in the history of modern man or any other time of man. That these things are still a rare occurrence. And that that keep America safe or many of these other things, how much does that really prevent?
Saving lives requires that we place limits on the firearm accessories for sale.
The fact is, though, you and I both know this. I mean, look at Virginia Tech and a few of the other places, some of the things that have been done. What was it? Handguns, right? I mean, remember, right after Parkland, we had the shooting in Texas. But because it was a shotgun, I think, and a handgun, it was like, well, we really can't talk about it because there's no gun debate there because that's one of the places we say we would never try to go to. Right? It's always about assault rifles and magazine size and all this. It's frustrating. I get it. But I also want everybody to realize how safe we are. And one of the reasons that people, when something as horrific as this, as awful as this, and it was, we all know that. The fact is this world, we see something like this and we think it's an every single day occurrence that is just nonstop. And then we still talk about the fact there was 80,000 people died last year from the flu. Right? But because there's no politics behind that. And much like the debate on immigration, we can look around and say, we can have a debate here on guns. But when it comes to the flu, it's like, there's no debate on the flu. Like the flu's not, it's not racist, right? It's not homophobic. It's not, it's not, it doesn't care what gender you are or what you identify as. It's the flu. Think about it for a second. Soak that in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Man, El Chapo. I'm getting a lot of people texting in about El Chapo. He's never getting out. And that right there is so, I want people to understand that. That is the biggest fear of all when it comes to all of these people who are cartel leaders, right? Is the never getting out. It's not like if you go back and you look through all of these historic drug dealers and the empires they build and how they tried to essentially, when they knew they couldn't continue to do what they were doing in the way that they were doing it, at some point in time, they had to pay some sort of price. They set it up because they held these nations and these governments hostage, but thought, okay, I'll do something, right? Escobar set up his own little world, right? Even El Chapo had it better off, and several others have as well. Their fear is coming here, because coming here it's the worst for them. That is it. That is absolutely it. They know that they're never, ever, ever going to see the light of day ever again.
We had a fight. We're holding off the government with a chair, and we have the media busting through the door on the side. It was very, very difficult to fight the perception. Look, we get that you guys have a job to do, but the jury reads this stuff. And, Joaquin Guzman was convicted before we even knew who Joaquin Guzman was.
No, Joaquin Guzman was convicted because of all the crimes he did. He wasn't somebody like, hey, I got a great idea. There's a guy up the street. We could just make him all of this stuff. No, he was convicted because he's a bad dude. That's why he's convicted. But it is their fear. Their huge, massive fear is to come here. You ever watch that show, Locked Up Abroad? They'll show some of these places, and they're not nice, right? But if you're something, like if he's in a regular prison in Mexico, he probably has all the freedoms he wants with all the protection. He'll get outside visits. He'll be able to still run his cartel. He'll still be able to do a lot of different things that he's not going to be able to do here. He may never touch another human again that's not a guard. Think about that. Think about that just for a second. Gone forever. And then in 20 or 30 years, you'll hear that he's died or something, or they move him somewhere, and you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot all about that guy. It's almost worse than being dead in many ways, because in many ways, you just no longer exist. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, you could tweet at us. 2019 is incredible. I'm off to a great start to the year. I'm sure many of you are as well. But maybe you're still struggling with sleep. Don't do it. My Pillow, My Pillow, My Pillow. You got nothing to lose. Money back guarantee till March. Come on now. Come on, my man. You got nothing to lose. Now, I was skeptical. I will not lie. I was a little bit skeptical. I'm skeptical on a lot of these things. People always ask me, do you just take anybody who comes to you? I'm like, no, I do not. I do not. I want to know about them, and I want to put them to the test, and then we go from there. I will tell you this right now. My Pillow passed the test with flying colors. Right now, they got a deal that's amazing for my listeners. 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping, and money-back guarantee until March. What? Not going to find this deal anywhere else. You've got nothing to lose. 100% machine washable and dryable. 10-year warranty made right here in the U.S. of A. Call 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. You're going to sleep better, and this is incredible. 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. Yeah, nothing to lose. Do it. 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use that promo code Benson. BENSON. That is me. You can check me out at Chad Benson Show on Instagram and Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Federal prosecutors reviewing Bezos' accusations of extortion and blackmail. They are going to look at every communication between the two sides to determine whether the National Enquirer violated the immunity deal they already have with prosecutors by committing a crime.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting still to see what happens, because while it's kind of quieted down because we've had so many other things and we live in a world of boom, hey, oh, over here, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, something shiny, ooh, piece of candy. This battle is going to go on, and it's not going anywhere. And it's now, who did it? A lot of people are saying it's the brother that did it. The brother who's a staunch supporter, the brother of Laura Sanchez, who is the mistress. And apparently he is her manager / agent, and he's a huge vocal supporter of Trump. And that's what a lot of people are pointing at. I mean, you never know. Plus, in this day and age, you take a picture, it goes off into some cloud. You think it's there or it's not there. Next thing you know, somebody could hack something and find some. It's just, you don't know, right? And here's the other thing. What if I'm working for one of these companies, right? And I know that you are who you say you are, and if I could find and dig into stuff and stuff, well, you just don't know. You don't know. And that is the thing that's very interesting with this. And I don't know if we're really, maybe we will know. Maybe we will never know, but I do know one thing. Something's going to come out, and pictures will be seen. That is for sure. Hoax. Is it a hoax or isn't it? So Jussie Smollett, who is on Empire, was reportedly beaten, and there was a hate crime, and it's not adding up the way that people thought it was adding up. And originally it was guys in MAGA hats, and they put a rope around him, his neck. And I mean, it just seemed, it seemed at first like, oh, but none of it seems to add up. But everybody's afraid to use the H word, hoax.
Chicago police received the phone records of the Empire actor 2 weeks after the incident. Jussie Smollett alleges 2 people yelled racist and homophobic slurs, hit him in the face, threw a chemical on him, and placed a rope around his neck. But police say the records handed over were limited and heavily redacted and don't meet the burden for a criminal investigation. Smollett's music manager has said that he was on the phone with the actor at the time of the attack and heard some of the slurs yelled. CPD says detectives may be following up to request additional data to provide a better timeline.
And it just feels weird. Right. And the story changes a little bit. He had the noose on around his neck. He didn't. People said they saw him in the lobby of a hotel and he seemed fine. I mean, there was all of these things. And we live in a day and age where we want to make snap judgments. And sometimes we have to take a step back. Okay, so let's breathe and figure out what this is, because would you rather, you want to get it right? Right? At least I do. I know a lot of other people, they just want to put stuff out. They don't care. So that is what it is. And I just said something doesn't seem to add up. And everybody's afraid to use the word hoax. Well, because he's gay and because he's black. And if it's a hoax, it's a hoax. Was he out partying late? And something happened? And so this takes away from that? I don't know. But there's 30,000 cameras in Chicago. They can't really seem to find any of the people that match the description. They thought they kind of did, and they didn't. And we've seen stuff like this before. And how it goes, oh, my God, so-and-so did it, and this is what happens. It just feels a little off, but it also shows you that people are afraid to ask serious questions that I think maybe need to be. Not saying it was, but I think we can have the question that if this was a hate crime, because it doesn't seem like the police are pursuing it much further than kind of what they've already done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Follow along with us on Facebook as well, The Chad Benson Show. And you go to thechadshow.com. We got podcasts, all kinds of good things. Check out Instagram. We got some cool T-shirts up there. Check those out, too, at Chad Benson Show. It is the Taco Tuesday edition of The Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no. I'm not. I'm not happy.
Not happy. Not happy. Was he happy last night? He was absolutely happy last night. Why? Because he was out. He was out talking. He was out rallying. He was out pitching the dream of a border wall, but also, in many ways, laying the foundation for another 4 years. I'm talking about, of course, President Trump. And no, he's not happy about that. Listen to him there. But kind of is happy. And if I'm his campaign manager building a re-election bid for 2020, I don't want him to build a wall. Not like this. Not just overnight, like, here's your money, go do it. No. I want there to be a fight. I want there to be a front and center battle with immigration from now until he's reelected. And then from there, I don't care. Do your own thing. My job is to get you reelected. That's what you should do. And I will tell you this right now. I would tell him, we're going to parcel this thing together. You fight when you need to fight. You make sure that you go out and you do those things that you do that riles up the base, that gets them excited, that gets them behind you without losing them, right? Without losing them, you do that because there's a fear factor that may happen, right? Because you had a lot of people turn on Trump last night. Oh, he's going to sign this thing and this guy's only getting this. But let me tell you something. What's your alternative if you want a wall built and you think that that's what you want, that's going to make the difference? What's your alternative, right? It ain't Howard Schultz. It ain't Beto. It ain't Kamala Harris. It ain't Hiawatha. It ain't any. No. Chad, you're being mean now. It's none of them. It's not AOC, right? It's none of them, right? It's none of them. So you can be pissed, but then you'll come back. Be angry, but you'll come back. And you want to keep that. See, when it comes to things like the economy, it's going to have ebbs and flows. You can do some things, but there's only so much you can do. It's ever changing. There's a finite thing. If you got everything you wanted to build this wall and you went after it and started to do it, after that, you had made your promise. And even if it doesn't get done in the time that you were president, the reality is this was your big thing. This was your big hit. You listen to him, and how he's just like, I'm not happy about it.
I have to study it. I'm not happy about it. It's not doing the trick, but I'm adding things to it.
Then listen to him last night.
And there's no place better to talk about border security, whether they like it or not, because I've been hearing a lot of things. Oh, the wall didn't make that much of a difference. You know where it made a big difference? Right here in El Paso. And I've been watching where they've been trying to say, oh, the wall didn't make that much. Well, you take a look at what they did with their past crimes and how they made them from very serious to much less serious. You take a look at what the real system is. I spoke to people that have been here a long time. They said when that wall went up, it's a whole different ball game. Is that a correct statement?
No, but still, listen to him hold court. Listen to the crowd. You want another 2 years of that because you want that energy. If you got everything you wanted now, that energy and that, what are you going to go out and fight against? Because this is a huge platform, the biggest platform you have when it comes to how you got elected and where you're going. So no, I don't want it all now. Fight for it. Make every year like this. Now, you don't have to go as long, but piecemeal it together. Talk about the battles you're in. Talk about how you're fighting. Talk about those things. I'm doing all of this, but I also have to be in a situation where I've got to look at what's best for the country while I'm fighting for you. And then the day after you're sworn in again, if you get another 4 years, if you want to declare a state of emergency and take money from everywhere and build yourself a wall, go ahead and do it. But don't take that hit away just yet. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Here's something else. I want to know what's in all of this. You know, we talk about, the budget and the whole 9 yards, and it's only about this 1.35 million, 5.7 billion, this, that. I want to know what's in it because we're $22 trillion in debt. It is growing fast. And when I worry about what is a crisis in the country, I look at this and say, this is a crisis. This is an issue. This is a wall that we're all going to have to climb at some point and time. And as much as it is, it's the tax cuts, I can say record revenues, record spending. You tell me, if you took 100% of everything everybody made, I guarantee the government would find a way to outspend that. That's an issue. That's an issue we need to be talking about. But nobody wants to really discuss that except in kind of a passerby situation. And the reason is they all like spending your money and my money. That's it. They all like spending our money. Why? Because it's not theirs. And they got to make sure they got everything covered. That's a frustrating thing. But nobody wants to talk about it. It's not sexy because both of them are guilty. But debt doesn't win you elections. It doesn't. It doesn't win you elections. You got to have a big, bad, evil monster, boogeyman, whatever it is. For the left, it's Trump. For Trump, it's immigration, illegal immigration in particular. That's what it is. Debt is like, it doesn't really care if you're black or white or gay or straight or Hindu or Muslim or atheist or agnostic or you identify as something. It's kind of boring. But it needs to be talked about in a serious way. And it's frustrating because it seems to continue to rise up and rise up and rise up. And that's a huge wall that we will all scale at some point in time, that our kids are going to scale. We worry about climate change. I worry about debt change. And the fact that we don't have any change when it comes to the debt in a good way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, he's going to jail for a long, long time.
The jury found that Guzman led the Sinaloa cartel, one of the largest and most dangerous drug cartels in the world, and that he's responsible for violence, including murders, and the smuggling of massive amounts of narcotics into the United States over a period of decades.
Yeah, decades, people, decades. He's going to jail forever. The biggest fear of cartel leaders is exactly what happened to him. Jail in the United States. You're going to cease to exist as a human being. That's it. Going to jail. They're going to sentence him in June. I think we know what he's going to get. For the rest of his life, he's going to be in orange or blue. He's going to be behind super, triple, quadruple max somewhere in the middle of godforsaken nowhere. And the only human contact he's going to come in with are going to be probably guards. Soak that in for a second. Yeah. But think about all of the casualties, not just the violence on the other side of the border, but think about the deaths over here of overdoses and what he did to continue to push through his cheap drugs, because we consume them. That's on us. That's a problem we have here. But because of that, the opioid crisis is out of control, and we could look to one person.
The Sinaloa cartel is responsible in large part for the opioid crisis, since it was the Sinaloa cartel that first introduced America to Mexican heroin laced with fentanyl.
Yeah. That word that many of you hadn't heard of 3, 4, 5 years ago, fentanyl, now everybody knows what it is. And it's scary. But he's going to jail here in the United States. Supermax. He's not going to be hanging out with people. He's not going to be in the yard. They're going to let him get nowhere near anybody else. Worst thing that could have happened to him. Hail of gunfire? That's not it. No. Dying on the roof like Escobar of your mom's house? Not it. Right? Getting caught, extradited to the United States of America, then going into a supermax prison in Pennsylvania or somewhere like that, where it's cold in the winter, nasty in the summer, and you get nothing. You walk around in an itty-bitty room, not too much bigger than a closet, with nothing to do for decades. You no longer exist. That's the fear that they have. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The whole thing tonight, I'm very interested in still in the Howard Schultz thing, because I just think he's so interesting. And my interest comes, first of all, I would love to see another party. And it doesn't have to be a big party, right? It just needs to do enough that could take some of the monopoly away from these two. And I think he's very interesting. He spent the money, he said already, to get on all of the ballots. He knows he can get on every ballot in every state and every city, which is huge. He can fund it to the tune of $300+ million himself. He's got a bit of a name recognition. He's got the town hall on CNN. The left hates him because they think he's going to reelect Trump. And the right is curious about it too. It's like, what is he going to do? It's going to be very interesting to see what he can do. I'm interested just because I think he's got some ideas that, hey, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
They're tasty and may save you time, but before you grab that bag of chips, open your favorite fizzy drink, or even heat up that can of soup. A new study shows eating ultra-processed foods may be shaving off a few years of your life. French researchers found adults 45 and older showed those who increased their diet of eating ultra-high processed foods by 10% ran a 14% higher risk of mortality. Health experts say do your homework, read the labels, and think farm to table for your foods.
I probably. I talked about this earlier. I said, well, if you're 82, right? And you could have lived to been 84, but you ate processed foods and you liked it, it was more convenient. Well, do you care? It's like we talk about bacon all the time. Your choice is you live to be 80 and eat bacon, or 78 and not eat, or 82 and not eat bacon. Most people say, oh, I'll live to 80. Except if you're 79, then you maybe want a few more. But we do eat processed. We eat junk. We eat plenty of it. Let's be real. We're a consumer-based country, and we consume everything from drugs to bad food. And they make it in mass quantities, right? And let me tell you something, eating healthy is two things. It's time-consuming, and I think most of you know this, it's expensive as hell. It's not cheap. Farm to table isn't cheap. There's a few things out there that are cheap that you can do okay with, but if you want to put everything out there, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, all of this stuff, it starts to add up. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, it's expensive, far more expensive than your local place down the street, right? That white loaf of bread, was going to be white in your true story. You know what I mean? It's $1.50. It's $2. That whole wheat, super banana nut, that's only 4 calories and it's great for you, make you taller and faster and leaner and run quicker and jump higher, that's $8. Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's a choice you make. And a lot of people are like, nah, I don't think I can do that. I don't think that seems a little bit expensive. And it is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's interesting. Students on campus were asked about the Green New Deal, which I thought was interesting. And if granted, it comes from a conservative support, so they're asking these students. So these students I thought were really spot on. But one of the things I thought was funny, they talked about eliminating air travel, which, they made them kind of like they were shocked about it.
Eliminating almost all air travel with high-speed rails. What's your thought on that?
I don't think it should be eliminated altogether. I think it's definitely it can be an option. I think the more options we have, the better.
I think that's drastic. I haven't heard of that one yet.
We've come so far to get to this point where we are right now with using these resources, and to say, we have to get rid of it in 10 years seems a little too much to me.
Yeah, I can't see that happening either, honestly.
Yeah, because you want to go other places, and high-speed rail is silly. How silly is it? California today decided, we're going to eliminate the whole thought from going to L.A. to San Francisco in high-speed rail. Right. Governor Brown, his big legacy thing was this, and now what's going to be left is Bakersfield to where? Chowchilla or Fresno? Why? Because of the expense. It's way too expensive. And because we have come up with air travel. Think about that for a second. We have come up with air travel. So why would I want to get on a highly subsidized high-speed rail that's going to make a few stops, and chances of it actually being high speed all the way from point A to point B are slim to none, because towns will say, no, you can't go through this fast. There's going to be all these kind of issues. So it's not going to be as high speed. It's not like a bullet train where you're in Japan and you go from point A to point B at 230 miles an hour. It's not going to be that way. So wait a minute. I can fly there in 45 minutes? Or I could take high-speed rail at maybe double the cost in 5 hours? Well, that sounds great. Sign me up. That is just silly. Silly. But it was interesting listening to some of these kids, because I think too often, everybody thinks that everybody that goes to college is some uber progressive. A lot of them are being inundated, but it doesn't mean that everything that's being said to them they believe. And when you lay out the facts, like a lot of other kids and generations, mine included, you go, okay, well, here are the facts. I still have hope. Don't get me wrong. We're more progressive than we've ever been in a lot of ways. But I think you have to understand that the millennial generation, the snowflake generation, whatever you want to call it, they're not as snowflakey all the time. Not all of them are melting. Some are, but not all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Governor Moonbeam Brown freaking out. His legacy ended quick. The boondoggle of $100 billion quadrillion high-speed rail went up in flames without ever rolling. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
tentative agreement represents a path forward for our country, away from another round of fraught negotiations, up against a government funding cliff, away from a dreaded government shutdown.
I wasn't dreading anything, just to let you know. I wasn't. I was dreading talking about the shutdown and watching all these pieces on TV by like CNN and everybody, like where they're following a government worker who's standing in line, getting something, all the while ignoring the other 45 people that are inside that same line getting something because Trump didn't directly cause, as the Democrats say, their issues. No. So it is what it is. So, yeah, that doesn't look like there's going to be a shutdown, but Trump is still pissed. But, hey, he got to negotiate, right? And, like, that's something because he's the king negotiator.
It's always nice to negotiate a little bit, right? So, whatever you get. But I would hope that there won't be a shutdown. I am extremely unhappy with what the Democrats have given us. It's sad.
But there's not going to be a shutdown. He'll sign this. And as I've been saying, and I'll continue to say, if I'm the person who's putting 2020 together for Trump, you got here in 2016 because of building the wall and immigration. And that wall is a symbol, as much as they're using it against you in many ways, as the divisiveness that it is and how evil that wall is, as you would hear from the likes of, I don't know, Beto.
Walls do not save lives. Walls end lives.
Said Humpty Dumpty, and that is not really true. I don't know how the wall's like, dude, I walked by this wall and it totally mugged me. I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, weird. And it was like, I'm going to shoot you. And I'm like, the wall. But if you're going to have it used as a symbol against you, realize that it's a symbol for you. And in the run up to 2020, getting it sorted out overnight, man, I'm telling you, if you can make this thing continue to build it, parse it together, right? 1.3 billion here. It's like a kid saving up for a bike. Man, I worked 3 part-time jobs and I've saved up for a bike. And if you can do that, that is a win. That is a win for you. That is the thing that will continue to rally the base. And if they're seeing you as the fighter that's championing that along the way, that will energize them in so many ways. Because it's very finite, right? Like, if you build the wall, everything that you want, the minute that last brick or metal post or whatever it is done, it's done. And that simple, there you go. It's not like the economy where you can fight and you can do things and it's ever changing and there's all kinds of different aspects of it. No. This is a finite thing, so it would be done. You want to keep that around. I'm just saying, from a person who would be saying to him, let this be even more of a symbol and continue to fight for it as you move forward. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, because the left is using it as a symbol against. So there you go. I'm just saying. It's not a bad thing if you're him and you're looking at it in a way of long term. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. The opioid addiction, as we talk about El Chapo going to jail. And this is really interesting. They've got a bunch of doctors and people who've suffered through opioid addictions and the crisis that's out there. And it's very interesting to listen to them talk today about the opioid crisis. And there is a crisis in there. There's an addiction problem in here. But some of the stuff that I was listening to them talk about, and I found this to be fascinating. Think about this for a second.
Medical students receive an average of 9 hours of pain management training in 4 years. Veterinarians get 87 hours. Your pet is getting better pain management often than people do.
How scary is that? How scary to think about. And pain management is really what it's all about. You want to stop the opioid addiction and the crisis going on here? One of the first place you have to fight it is pain management. That is the first place you fight it, because the less that's prescribed, the less that gets out there, the better it is for everybody. And I think most people understand that. But for a lot of times, it was just easy for the doctor to go, oh, it hurts? Here, take this. Oh, it hurts? Take this. Doesn't feel? Take this. My back hurts? Take this. Probably not understand the ramifications, but now we do understand the ramifications. And that's why we've got to look at alternative ways in dealing with this, because that is to me, is the first thing we have to look at when it comes to the fight against the opioid addiction. And the crisis here is you're never going to defeat it. I think we all understand that you're never going to defeat something like the war on drugs has been a massive failure, right? In a lot of ways. But when it comes to something like this, there are things that we can do that I think can counteract the growth of it. And I think it's vitally important that we talk about those kind of things.
We really should look at the potential of cannabinoids. The studies are not out there. If we don't have the studies, we cannot make the decision on the potential of cannabinoids.
And that's things like marijuana. What? Yeah, CBDs. What? We have a lady that is here, and about 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, she shattered her arm. She shattered her arm really bad, and they didn't know if they were going to have surgery or do any of these things. So the doctor said, well, once it's set, before we think about doing surgery, we want to see if we can heal it and do some things. And then she went on oil from the marijuana. And I will tell you this right now. She's like, it has been huge in what it's allowing me to do. It has been amazing. And I was like, those are things that we need to look at, alternative ways and things we need to look at. And let's be real, we're not going to get rid of opioids altogether, because there are people out there who genuinely have so much pain that the only relief they're going to get in certain situations is going to be because of these. But you also have a situation right now with doctors who are asking themselves, when my mom had surgery and when they replaced her hip, the amount of paperwork they sent home to avoid, don't do this, it's insane. It is. And there's a fear factor there if you're a doctor nowadays.
A lot of providers are now scared to provide opioids to patients they've been prescribing them to for many years. But that doesn't necessarily mean that those patients have come in contact with a pain provider who can help them manage their pain, but with other means.
Yeah. And I would be too. I mean, you've got all the other things if you're a doctor to think about as far as getting in trouble or sued or whatever in our litigious society. You've got all of these other things. But now the potential of, did I overprescribe somebody who then ends up something happening? What happens to me there? Am I now contributing to this person's addiction? Yeah. It's a very interesting thing. But to hear about how much the vets who work on your animals get when it comes to pain and pain management compared to a doctor, that should be alarming right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Speaking of drugs, he's going to jail forever. Found guilty on all 10 counts, El Chapo Guzman. And it is, this is a guy who was, earlier somebody said, do you think he's going to have any regret? I'm like, no. The regret is they got caught. The life that they lead, sometimes I'm sure they feel like this is the only life they knew. They took the chance, and the ruthlessness of which they snatched that chance and continued to hold on to it for as long as they possibly could. And they know, right, there's like one or two mobsters in the history worldwide of mobsters who kind of just went, they died in their own bed at home. They know how they're going out. They're either going out in prison forever and dying there of old age, or they're going out in a hail of gunfire.
He was ruthless. He was a killer. He was a murderer. He was a manipulator. But he was also very, very, very smart, very street smart. But he was willing to use extreme violence to control his territory and control his organization.
Because that's what you have to do. Just like if you're a dictator, right? That's what dictators have to do. I mean, we look at somebody like Muammar Gaddafi, or you look at Saddam Hussein, as much as the West and us, if you will, are a threat to them. The reality is inside of their own house, there's a threat to them. It's the same thing with somebody like him, right? As much as the West and as much as people who are law-abiding citizens and governments and organizations that want to take him out, the fact is he's got rivals not only in other cartels, but he's got rivals inside of his own house, and that's why they're ruthless. That's why. And the funny thing is, when you look at the likes of Pablo Escobar or El Chapo Guzman or any of the other, the Medellin cartels and all of these, you look at a lot of them, the people that run these could have just as easily, in the right circumstances, probably run Fortune 500 companies. Absolutely. They're not idiots. They're not. But they are ruthless beyond all belief. And his biggest nightmare came true today. He will spend the rest of his life behind bars and with very minimal contact of human beings. That is their huge fear. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I'm excited tonight. We have, it's on CNN. Am I correct, Phil? Mr. Howard Schultz?
That is correct, sir.
And his town hall, and I'm excited. And it's going to be interesting to watch the way that people react. So here's a guy who's running as an independent, who has all the money in the world to make sure that he's already said he's done the homework, and he's going to be on every single ballot in every city and every state in America. And the reaction tonight, because I'm sure you'll have some conservatives there, you'll have some independents there, but you're going to have a lot of Democrats who can't stand Trump and see him as somebody who's going to keep Trump in the White House. And I want to see how that goes, because I love the fact that we have somebody who potentially is going to go all in and run as a third party here. I love that. I want to see how the reaction is tonight. And it's going to be on CNN. They're very excited about it. They got a little town hall meeting thing right up there. X amount of hours until Howard Schultz. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter and your Instagram as well. Slept great last night, despite the fact that I was in a hotel and my bed was, well, I would say a bed of nails is probably more comfortable, but I had my Go Anywhere pillow for my pillow and I slept well. You can do the same. Don't be a fool. You got nothing to lose, right? I got a money back guarantee till March 1st. 4 pillows? 2 premium, 2 Go Anywhere pillows. I use my Go Anywhere pillow all the time. And when I see Jack in the next week or two, we've got some big plans, and we're going to shoot a commercial because he loves his My Pillow. So we're going to do a commercial so we can talk about how much he loves it. I was a skeptic. You probably are too. I don't blame you. Put it to the test. It's that simple. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. Right now, money back guarantee. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. And again, a money-back guarantee. You got nothing to lose. You're not going to find this deal anywhere else. Simple and easy. Call 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. When you do, use the promo code Benson. Money-back guarantee till March 1st. 4 pillows, right? 4 pillows, half the price, free shipping, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, 2 premium pillows. 800-944-4975 or visit mypillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? We were just talking about head injuries. Think about this.
The music is in his mind. His fingers do the rest. What Derek Amato has is a gift that came in the most unexpected way. It happened 12 years ago in a swimming pool accident.
I miscalculated diving towards the shallow end, and I struck the bottom.
After recovering, he was at a friend's house and walked over to a keyboard, and suddenly, without having played before, his hands were all over it.
Yeah, think about this. Day and age of CT and all of this stuff. I mean, you hear about this every once in a while. Something happens. Somebody gets hit in the head, or they have surgery and then they speak a foreign language or whatever it is. This guy is a pianist.
It's called acquired savant syndrome. The trauma to the head unlocked something unique inside Derek Amato's brain. He explained to us that black and white squares appear in his mind.
I just follow what the blocks tell me to do, and I don't think I catch them all, but I do my best to take as many of those notes as I can and put them into playing.
He is well aware he has been given a precious gift.
You know what would be scary about that, though, is what if one day, because as quickly as it came, it could go away, and you're like, oh, my God. And then you're running around saying, hit me in the head. I got to redo that, because I used to be, and people are like, what's wrong with him? It's like, oh, well, he used to be a great pianist, but that was after he got hit in the head. Before that, he was kind of a boob, and now he's this great artist, and then he got hit in the head again, and now he's lost it all. You're like, oh, man.
Asking students to be on the lookout for a woman who reportedly is asking students to date her son. Campus police released a photo of the woman from surveillance video. The woman approached several students on campus last week and showed them a picture of her son on a cell phone and asked if they were interested in a date. University officials say the woman isn't facing any criminal charges, but they do want to speak with her to put an end to the harassment.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier, right? Like, how embarrassing is that, first of all? Secondly, all of us have had that thing where you didn't want your mom or dad to show up for whatever reason. But a lot of times it was because, like, oh, my God, my mom's the worst dresser. Like, I had a friend whose mom, Rusty, his name is Russell, but we used to call him Rusty. His mom, beautiful, dressed to the nines. And my mom was always perpetually stuck in the 70s. Like, even when it was the 80s, she was still living 70s style. And it was just like a big, please, God, just don't let her show up. And it's just like, oh, my God. But having my mom walk around with a picture saying, please date my son, that right there, kids, that's something new. That is, and in a day and age when dating shouldn't be that hard at all, and in the day and age of Me Too, maybe this is what you have to do to avoid Me Too. It's send your mom out to ask if would you like to go on a date with my son? And then you're thinking to yourself, well, you look at this picture, and maybe he's not that bad looking, but are you going to be around always? Yeah, that's all you need to know right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Check out our podcast. Go to thechadshow.com. Grab the podcast there. And, of course, you got the Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And you got the Facebook as well. Again, we're not going to have a shutout, so that's good news. Trump is going to go along with it, and I think he's doing that for a lot of reasons, one of which is he can continually talk about fixing immigration with the wall. So why not continue to do that and piecemeal this thing together to 2020? I wouldn't want to fix it overnight. And again, that's if it's a fix. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no.
No!
I'm not.
No!
I'm not happy.
No! But he'll sign it. There you go. He'll sign it. What is that? The bill that doesn't give him the things he wants for the border wall. And I don't think it's a bad thing if you're looking at it politically as far as getting reelected and keeping the narrative out there of fighting for the wall. Is it everything you want? No, because your mind is you kept promises. You want to keep those promises. But if I'm a person running your campaign, my job is to get you reelected. The shutdown didn't help you at all. People are worried. Is there going to be another shutdown?
I don't think you're going to see a shutdown. I wouldn't want to go to it now. If you did have it, it's a Democrat's fault.
Yeah, there's not going to be. He's gonna sign this. I want to know what's inside of it, outside of all of the other things. I'm like, I kind of want to know what's inside of it. Are we building our debt again continuously? Because that seems to be what we do best, and that to me is a huge national emergency that doesn't get talked about. How are we dealing with healthcare now that you guys have sorted out this political game? Can we start dealing with other things that a lot of us would like to see dealt with, if that's at all possible? But from this right here, he got about $4 billion less than he wanted. Did the Democrats? They didn't get anything really. There's nothing in there about DACA that was going to be like, ooh, no, none of that stuff. And to me, if I'm Trump, you built your campaign in so many ways about dealing and fighting illegal immigration, and that wall became such a symbol. If you got it built overnight, the worry is people are going to be like, well, he kind of did his thing. They can go away now. But as long as you have that and you're fighting for it, even if it's 50 miles at a time, which is apparently what this $1.3575 billion will build, it's not a bad thing. It's not awful. It is not awful. So maybe, just maybe, you go, all right, we can deal with this. We can roll with this. We'll just status quo. Just keep it going. We'll fight it every time. We'll make it an issue every time. We'll bring it up. I'll rally the base. And we'll go from there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The worst nightmare for him? I think a victory for a lot of us.
The jury in Brooklyn federal court convicted Joaquin Guzman on all 10 counts he faced. He was charged with running a continuing criminal enterprise as the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, a position he used to smuggle at least 200 tons of cocaine into the United States. Witnesses described chilling violence Guzman unleashed on rivals and the paranoia of a man who lived constantly on the run. Jurors heard of narrow, naked escapes through tunnels and of the electronics he used to spy on mistresses and his wife. Guzman now faces life in prison.
Yeah, and that is always the fear for all of these cartel leaders. And when we talk about the crisis that we have going on here that's real, that he truly contributed to, you got the violence south of the border, but you have a lot of other things here, and one of those, as we talked about and continue to talk about over and over again, is the opioid crisis.
The Sinaloa cartel is responsible, in large part, for the opioid crisis. Since it was the Sinaloa cartel that first introduced America to Mexican heroin laced with fentanyl.
And think about that. The amount of people that are affected today because of that. And a lot of that's on us. Let's not forget that we're a consumer-based society and we consume these drugs. That's why just building a wall is not, hey, we built the wall and then there it is. That doesn't work that way. There's so many other things that have to go into this. But our consumption of it makes it so they're willing to do anything and everything to get those drugs here. They're willing to do anything and everything because the golden goose is right here.
This conviction is a victory for the Mexican people who have lost more than 100,000 lives in drug-related violence.
Yeah. And again, he's going to go to jail forever. He's not, there's no, oh, well, maybe he'll get out of here, or maybe for him, no, he is never going to see the light of day ever again, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And the biggest fear has always been for all of these cartel leaders, all of these people, is going to prison in the United States, because it's not like prisons where they come from. In many places, the places that they are, they get to design their own prisons. They get to live a life where they kind of have the run of everything and then some. The only thing is they can't go places. And that includes enjoying the company of ladies and having your family around and all of the other trappings in life. Where here, you're looking at what, 23 hours potentially? 23 and a half hours where you get no sunlight. You're in a room that is not much bigger and probably your bedroom, if not a lot smaller than that. And there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to ever get out.
The jury found that Guzman led the Sinaloa cartel, one of the largest and most dangerous drug cartels in the world, and that he's responsible for violence, including murders, and the smuggling of massive amounts of narcotics into the United States over a period of decades.
Decades. So it wasn't like he did this for like 6 months and it's like, I'm out. No. Decades. He would have rather probably went down fighting than this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. Do love hearing from each and every one. I try to answer everybody as much as I possibly can. Don't always get to do it. It's so funny the way that, because, you know, you post something or you go out there and you do something, and I engage people as much as I possibly can, but the fighting all the time over stuff. Like, it's a perfect example of yesterday arguing with somebody over the tax situation, right? Well, Trump and this whole, all the rich are getting richer and all of us are getting, we're getting less money back. And it's like, no matter how many times you explain that you're not getting less money back, it's just the money that you've got is coming to you in a different way over a period of time rather than one lump sum.
According to the Tax Policy Center, most Americans, about 80%, did get a tax cut in 2018, but those savings showed up in paychecks because the IRS changed its withholdings this year.
Okay, wait a minute. What do you mean it came in savings and in the paycheck? Was your paycheck bigger? Yeah. Did you get a raise? No. Oh. All right, let's go over that again. Was your paycheck bigger? Ding! Yes. Did you get a raise? Some people did, but a lot of people didn't. Why is that? Because you enjoyed your savings when it came to your taxes essentially up front. And the money you're getting back is the interest-free loan you gave the government.
In those paychecks, people got a little bit more. Think about it like this. If you got $40 extra in your paycheck each week, that would be about $1,000 more over the course of a year. Instead of seeing it in the refund check, you got it in the paycheck, but you might not have noticed it along the way.
Oh, okay. Now I'm getting it. Are you? No. Man, I was arguing with somebody yesterday. I wasn't even arguing. It was just frustrating trying to talk to people because they just they're not grasping it. And I'm like, how do you not grasp that? How are you not getting that? But some people just don't get it. No matter how many times you tell them, they don't get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The outrage of the day, this time it is directed at Miss Katy Perry.
The shoes from Katy Perry Footwear featured eyes, a nose, and a red-lipped mouth on the tops, and though they were available in different colors, the black version for many strongly invoked blackface imagery. They've been pulled from places that were selling them, including Dillard's and Lord & Taylor, and Perry, in a statement to People, says she was saddened when it was brought to her attention that the shoes were being compared to painful images from the past, that they were meant to be a nod to modern art and surrealism, and it was never the intention to inflict pain.
Again, there's that word intention. It's not how it's intended, it's how it's taken. I have to be honest with you. I looked at the shoe, and the first thing came to my mind is, A, that's an awful shoe, and B, it looks like a bad sock puppet. Kind of the first thing that came to my mind. And I wonder what they're going for. Because they're not cheap, right? I mean, I'm assuming, let's see here. I'm assuming $300-400, right? So just the leather slip-on shoes are $60, right? But they run anywhere between $100 and $300 for her shoes. Is that a lot? I don't know if that's a lot for a woman's shoes. My shoes are cheap. Like, how much are Converse? Although Converse are expensive now. I'm like, my God, I'm paying how much for Converse? It's canvas. I'm making my own. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could join the program that way. Again, tweet at me. I try to get back to you. You can text the program as well. And check us out on Facebook as well. Let me tell you something, kids. Car Shield, they're good to me. They'll be good to you. and you want to be good to your car. You worry about the what ifs with your car because you don't have that warranty anymore. You're like, what if my car broke down and it cost me $3,000 to fix? And I think to myself, well, now I'm just going to have to figure out a way to tow it somewhere, trade it in, and then borrow money to get a new car. Or you get Car Shield and not have to worry about that anymore. They're amazing. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And, oh, by the way, you get to choose the shop, so it's not like they send you off to some of their, like some of these places that go like, okay, well, you got to take it here. And those people are only worried about getting you out the door. They're not worried about, they're literally, paperclip and gum to get your car moving again. And that's not what you want. That's not what you want at all. That's what Car Shield will do for you, is make sure that your car is taken care of in a way that's amazing. You would take it to the dealership. Do you think they're going to repair it right? You know they are. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Do what I did. Get cover the ultimate extended vehicle protection. Call Car Shield today, 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. Or better yet, check out carshield.com. Look at all the plans and things they have. You'll find out the one that's right for you. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson. It saves you 10% right there. Or call them at 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. You can text us as well. 323-538-CHAD. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
Want some lemonade? When police shut down Ben Guffey's lemonade stand last summer in Colorado, they shut us down because we didn't have permits.
The 7-year-old decided to turn those lemons into a state bill. Monday, Guffey and his mom and brothers went to the state capitol to testify with others about a bill that would legalize businesses for minors.
Please proceed with your testimony.
It's co-sponsored by Colorado Senator Angela Williams and says the bill won't cost anything and will give the youngest entrepreneurs a chance to learn the ropes.
That is good, right? That is the fact that we have to have a bill that says it's okay to have a lemonade stand. That's the insanity. People say, well, Chad, name me something that's overregulated. How about crap like that? How about if I want to buy a hot dog off a street vendor outside a Staples Center, when I'm down in LA and I've got a Staples Center, they got these great hot dog vendors out there with the hot dog wrapped in bacon and stuff. If I want to risk it, I'm an adult. Right? Stop nannying me. If I want to buy lemonade from a kid, let me buy lemonade from a kid. It's we should be encouraging that. It's entrepreneurship. If a guy wants to have a lemonade stand or a little girl wants to have a lemonade stand or if she, whatever, let it be. It's insane. It really is. But I love the fact that he's going to go. And why? Because somebody had to what? Had to shut him down because I didn't pay your fees, youngster. You didn't pay them fees there. Do you have a license? Well, Chad, you got to understand something. These are other restaurants are competing. Just get over it. It's lemonade, for God's sakes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. El Chapo's lawyers are talking about the ruling today, and I don't know if I use these words.
I don't think anybody would doubt that we fought like hell. We fought like complete savages and left it all on the battlefield for Joaquin Guzman. I mean, this is America, and no matter who the defendant is, you still have to fight.
Yeah. And look, that was all. You're an uphill battle. Could you imagine, defending that? What's the best that you think you're going to do? Because you're not winning this, right? You know, even if he was found guilty on only half the charges, that's a lot of charges. He was found guilty at all 10. But what is the best you think your outcome? We're going to find him not guilty. Or maybe a hung jury with one person saying, I don't think he's guilty. You kind of knew it was an uphill battle. And he's going to spend forever in jail. I think we all know that, right? He is not ever going to see the light of day. Ever, ever, ever. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. This is still an interesting case that, and I don't know if you guys, we talked about it last week, Jesse Smollett, who's on Empire, and he's a singer, and they're still discussing about what happened to him, and was he essentially part of a hate crime attack?
Chicago police received the phone records of the Empire actor 2 weeks after the incident. Jesse Smollett alleges two people yelled racist and homophobic slurs, hit him in the face, threw a chemical on him, and placed a rope around his neck. But police say the records handed over were limited and heavily redacted and don't meet the burden for a criminal investigation. Smollett's music manager has said that he was on the phone with the actor at the time of the attack and heard some of the slurs yelled. CPD says detectives may be following up to request additional data to provide a better timeline.
And what's interesting about this is I read a great article yesterday, I think it was in PJ Media, that said, everybody's afraid to say it was a hoax. Everybody was afraid to say it was potentially a hoax. I don't know. I said, he had the noose around his neck and there were guys wearing MAGA hats and all of this kind of stuff. And it felt a little weird. And then nothing seemed to truly add up. And everybody, it's very bizarre the way it's kind of gone away. But even that's happened. Nobody's afraid to say, everybody's afraid to say, was this a hoax? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Hallie, after 2 years and interviewing more than 200 witnesses, the Senate Intelligence Committee has not uncovered any direct evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. That's according to sources on both the Republican and the Democratic side of the aisle, Hallie. And careful viewers and readers will note that Senator Richard Burr, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee who leads this probe, essentially said that in an interview with another network last week. But what I've been doing since then is checking with my sources on the Democratic side to understand the full context of his remarks, because that was essentially a partisan comment from one side. But this is a bipartisan investigation, and what I found is that the Democrats don't dispute that characterization.
What does that mean? Well, as far as the Senate committee gets together, is there collusion? Nothing we can find. Right? Did some of the people in the campaign who got in trouble by their own doing, and a majority of which came when they were what? Out there taking money, not declaring it income, hiding it, right? But as far as actual collusion, and let's remember, this is how this thing started was, let's find out how Trump won. It can't be just that other people want him over her. That's impossible. She has been groomed for this. She was built specifically for this, to be the first woman president in the United States history. There's just no way. There has to be collusion. And no, it's not. Now, did they make poor choices? Absolutely. With the company they kept? Yeah. Should they have done better? Yeah, I think so. I think we can all agree with that. I think we can all agree that the Manaforts of the world, the Roger Stones of the world, but again, Stone and him have been friends for 40 years, so it's not like, well, he only became friends with Stone. And everybody knows what Stone did, because Stone did it for a lot of presidents and a lot of people in politics. The Cohens of the world. In saying that, does this mean anything? No, they're still going through. The Mueller investigation is still going on, and that is going to continue to go on. But there was, there's nothing here. Now, the Democrats, like everything else, when they fact check, the impartiality of fact checking is all by the person who's doing the fact checking is, we couldn't find anything, but
again, no direct proof of a conspiracy. As one Democratic aide said to me, we never thought we were going to find a contract between Trump and Vlad saying, hey, let's collude. But the question is, how do we interpret all these various contacts between Trump campaign and Russia?
Well, But if you're interpreting something, and I said to somebody earlier, in life, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. You're trying to interpret a conversation, and if you think somebody's guilty, you're going to interpret it that way. If you think they're innocent, you're going to interpret it another way. So, what is it? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if the Senate, and it's a bipartisan, this was not all Republicans, this was a bipartisan, are coming out and saying, well, we can't find evidence of collusion. And this is 200 plus interviews, almost 2 years, a few other people to interview. Now, it doesn't mean that Mueller's going away or any of that stuff, but the reality is they have a lot of classified information. They were able to do a lot of things and go a lot of places that maybe even Mueller didn't have a chance to go. And still nothing. Now, that's not going to satisfy some people, right? And each one of them, when they finally do deliver, it won't be a bipartisan, let's put a report together. I bet you each one of them delivers their own side of the story for their base. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Speaking of, said Donald.
Am I happy at first glance? I just got to see it. The answer is no. I'm not. I'm not happy.
Not happy, but the reality is he got a little bit of money. Doesn't seem to be a lot of stuff in their DACA. There doesn't seem like there's going to be a shutdown going forward, and he's not giving up the thing that I think is still the hallmark of his campaign going forward. He may be president, but campaigning started truly in earnest a while ago, and last night was very ever present in taking on Beto and Beto taking on him in El Paso, and there is still that word that I think will continue to push him forward when it comes to 2020.
The bottom line is we're building a lot of wall. Right now we're building a lot of wall. And you think it's easy? We're building in the face of tremendous obstruction and tremendous opposition.
And that right there, if I'm his campaign manager, if I'm building a strategy, this helped you get elected. If you built it overnight, it takes away one of, if not your biggest selling and talking point. For this to go. Now, if you got reelected again and the next day you want to build everything, that's fine. Got no problem with that. Because you're not being reelected again. But if we could keep this and you can continue to parse together bits and pieces and you can fight for it still, sounds like a winning plan right there. Sounds like a winning plan. I'm just saying, to me, it sounds like a winning plan. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The Super Bowl has come and gone. But 2 years ago, maybe the biggest sports broadcaster of all, who was working for NBC, was not on their coverage of the Super Bowl, and that was Bob Costas. And he's been out the last couple of days talking about why he wasn't on there. And he's been very open, and I think it's been very refreshing. And when you've got as many Emmys and your career is as illustrious as it is, you can, I think, be a lot more open as you kind of wind down your career about this. And again, being pulled off the Super Bowl, though, is not something you go, But I understand what he's talking about here because I fight the same battle when it comes to football.
Just to make this clear for anybody that needs to have it made clear, my dad took me to the 1962 NFL title game at Yankee Stadium between Y.A. Tittle's Giants, whom I adored, and the Green Bay Packers, and I still haven't gotten over the Giants' loss. Some of the best people I have met, players, coaches, people around the game, best people I've met in sports are football people. I understand the drama, the excitement, the strategy, the generational connections, all of that is good. But evidence is evidence.
Yeah, evidence is evidence. And that was huge because he has to look at the evidence. And he says what a lot of us say.
The reality is that this game destroys people's brains.
And that right there was massive. And they made the decision, hey, you know what? Nah.
I think the words were, you've crossed the line.
And my thought was, what line have I crossed?
They spend billions on it, and you are their biggest voice in sports. You handle all of that. Not only that, you're a transcend, the way that you can do both news, right? And you can bring a perspective that very few people can, and the storyteller that you are, you're transcendent of just being a sports guy. And when you come out and you talk about sports that we spend billions of dollars on, and you're willing to look up there, and as honest as it may be, it's also a business. But I struggle with it every day. I have an 8-year-old who loves the game, whose dream is to play in the NFL. And I don't want him anywhere near the game. I push him towards, like, if you're going to play, you're going to be a punter or a kicker, right? I would love him to play basketball. And I'm okay that he plays flag football. But I know one day that real conversation is going to come because, he's at the age now where, I'm more dictator than dad when I need to be in certain situations. And same thing with mom. She feels the same way. But you look at the game and you love the game and we watch the game, and I struggle with when I see guys get smashed and hit.
This knuckleheaded idea that there's some kind of crazy left-wing conspiracy to undermine America's game. Evidence is evidence. I wish it were not so. I wish I could push a button and the game could be rough and exciting, but not scramble people's brains. But it does. And when the NFL says, well, there's more to learn, there's more evidence, guarantee you, the more evidence, the worse it's going to look for the game of football.
Well, I believe 110%. The fact that we still play it is in high schools, right? Even in colleges. But in high schools, the fact that we're still playing it and Pop Warner's, it's because I know the more evidence that can come out. The more evidence that's going to come out, the worse it's going to be, and the look is going to be even worse. And it is sad but very true. And this weekend, the Association of American Football debuted, and one of the things that people liked is the fact that these hits are massive and they're big in this game, and they're letting players, which would be flags elsewhere. It's crazy. It is.
Whether it's the president of the United States or somebody in the upper deck who says they're ruining the game by not letting them just bash each other to pieces, you wonder how many times they've been hit in the head.
Can the game be exhilarating while at the same time you protect player safety?
There are millions and millions of people who do not watch football out of some sense of bloodlust. They're not watching it primarily because of the violence and the viciousness. I don't see how, but I'm open-minded about it. I'd like to see it happen because I don't want the game to disappear.
And I don't think it will. And what you're finding, and this is what Malcolm Gladwell called it, is the ghettoization of football, was because what you're finding is people are saying, particularly, upper middle class, predominantly white families are saying, I don't want football to go away. I just don't want my kid to play it. And what used to be an out, which was boxing years ago for poor, poverty-stricken families and people of color, is now in many ways become football's that opportunity. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't. But I fight it every day. I fight it every single day when it comes to Jack. We spoke early this morning because he's excited that Kyler Murray, who's the Heisman Trophy winner, but also a first-round draft pick by the A's, he was number 9 overall. They gave him a $4 million signing bonus, and he decided that he is going to play in the NFL rather than play baseball. And it's a tough fight, man. It is a tough fight. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And I think one of the other thing is, as fast as the game is, comparatively in a lot of ways to baseball. And I heard somebody, I think it was on ESPN today, a reporter said, America's game is football. Baseball is America's pastime, with past being the most important part of that. And for Jack, whenever I say, man, you've got a great arm, we go out and play catch and stuff with baseball, he can hit the ball, so he'd be great at baseball. I hate it. It's boring. I'm like, ugh, crazy, but real. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. $20 billion we will spend on Valentine's Day, according to a new study. $20 billion. Average person is going to spend $162 on Valentine's Day. Don't spend that much and don't be average. Be better than that. Win Valentine's Day with 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, with just 2 days left, you're still an opportunity to do that. 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley, $29.99, or you can upgrade to 24 assorted roses for $10 more. Unbelievable offer from 1-800-Flowers.com. And let me tell you something. They pick them at their peak, right? They ship them overnight. They ensure freshness, and you're getting, and don't be cheapskate. Come on, $10 more? Yeah, you'll get this. But 18-stem Enchanted Roses, Rose Medley for $29.99, or 24 assorted roses for $10 more. What are you waiting for? Win Valentine's. Don't go crazy and buy stuff that you don't need to buy or be last minute and overpay for something. Do the right thing. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Get 18-stem Enchanted Rose Medley for $29.99 or upgrade it for 24 assorted roses for just $10 more. How do you get this offer? Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Benson. But hurry, offer expires today. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Got your useless fact of the day straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Toys R Us is coming back with a new name, True Kids. Richard Berry, a former Toys R Us executive, is CEO of the new company, which is exploring freestanding stores, shops within existing stores, as well as e-commerce. The goal for True Kids to be up and running in some form by the holiday shopping season. Toys R Us liquidated its businesses last year, closing all of its U.S. stores.
Now, for me, if I'm buying Toys R Us, what you're buying is the name. You can buy toys anywhere, right? So what you're buying is the name Toys R Us. True Kids, to me, you're buying the name Toys R Us. And I've said all along, if it's going to survive, which it didn't, it's got to survive in the way that is being online, and that's joining forces with Wish or Amazon and something like that. And then it's got to be pop-up stores for Christmas. And I think you can survive on that. But was it True Kid? Yeah, it's not the same, right? To me, it's like you're buying the brand, because brand does matter. And True Kid is not the brand in that. It is Toys R Us. But, well, we'll see. It's not my company, kids. Speaking of Valentine's Day, we were speaking about it earlier. A mom is desperate for her son to find love.
Asking students to be on the lookout for a woman who reportedly is asking students to date her son. Campus police released a photo of the woman from surveillance video. The woman approached several students on campus last week and showed them a picture of her son on a cell phone and asked if they were interested in a date. University officials say the woman isn't facing any criminal charges, but they do want to speak with her to put an end to the harassment.
Oh, my God. Mom, you're killing me. Could you imagine that? So she's just wandering around campus, just with her phone, and date my son, please. Date him, please. Oh my goodness, I could not even imagine that. That is insane. First of all, hello, #MeToo, right? Is that... we need a ruling for the Peanut Gallery producer, Phil. Isn't that harassment, right?
A little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit. So maybe #MeToo no, Mom. But Chad, I didn't realize it was that bad. I mean, I know all the studies say that we're getting further and we're more connected than ever, but further and further away. But man, your mom's going out doing your dirty work. Maybe that's going to be the new app, Mom Date. That's where Mom finds you a date. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We avoided a shutdown. We'll see what happens. And again, if I'm Trump and I'm his campaign, I want to ride the wall as long as possible. If you want to, the day after you're sworn in, if you win another 4 years, build the rest of the wall, I got no problem with that. But if we can ride this thing out, I don't see a reason why we should let it go. We can make this, again, a hallmark of your next campaign if you decide to run again. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us your useless information of the day. I love this, right? We talk about, women are oppressed in this country. 1973, Chairman Mao and Henry Kissinger were talking when Chairman Mao said, we've got 10 million extra women in this country. Do you want them? Think about that for a second. Let that soak in. Do you want them? Kissinger said, I have a few, but 10 million's a bit much. I don't think he said that. Have a good rest of your day. As always, night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.